So the entire universe is made up of energy. It's full of stars. They're arranged in gigantic groups called galaxies. We all know our planet Earth is in the Milky Way. This is not an astronomy lesson, but just a little review. The Milky Way is believed to contain more than 200 billion stars. And there are billions and billions of galaxies with enormous numbers of stars. Some scientists believe that the universe is actually infinite in its size and in its expansion. It's like the number of grains of sand on the beach. And all of it is energy. All of it is energy. You know, your body is created and it has 30 to 40 trillion cells in it. All of it is energy. All of within you is energy. In fact, the same energy that is creating infinite universes. And inside this gigantic universe that is unfathomable to imagine, and inside your physical body, there is an invisible structure, a divine intelligence that's holding it together. Something brilliant is holding you together so you don't just go and explode into a big black hole. There's systems of organization that are always taking place inside of you. One of those systems that has been discovered, in fact, many, many years ago, 1500 BC, is called the chakra system. And that's what we're studying over the summer series. The chakra system, the chakra in Sanskrit means wheel, because it is said that the energy inside of you is just spinning. It's spinning, spinning, spinning. And as you can see, there are 7 spots, and the energetic chakra system follows along the physical spine. Each chakra contains within it different purposes and different focus organizing you energetically. The root chakra, we'll go to the next slide. The root chakra down here, we talked about 2 weeks ago, and that's about grounding you in the physical world, connecting you to your tribe, to your family system. And I connected that to 0 to 2 years old, the development time, the first part of your being here in your human body. This chakra is absorbing all of the family agreements, in fact, it's happening in the womb, anchoring you into your tribe and into this dimension of attention. Hear that. The dimension you're in where you're placing your attention here. I'll go into that later more. Sacral chakra, the second one, its color is actually orange. It's not very orange, but it's yummy orange, and it's the passion, and it's the creativity, and this we lined up with ages 2 to 5, where you learn to say no, and you're starting to individuate, and everything's yummy, and you want to touch everything and taste everything, and it's just that delicious time of development when you're just like, yes, you're feeling your body, you're feeling a part of something, and it's delicious to a young child. Today, we move up into the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, which is just below the rib cage. In fact, you can sort of put your hand right below your rib cage. This is your chakra, the third chakra. I really like this chakra. And the reason I like it is that it is the seat of the will, according to the chakra system. The will. And when this chakra is closed down, or it's not in balance, you become willful. You become controlling. You become distrustful that life is on your side. When the chakra is open, you're obviously willing. You're able to flow. You're able to move downstream with life. And there's a faith that is inside of you that flows through you and becomes magnetic for more and more and more good. There once were 2 women. They were both very materially successful, and every outer way seemed as though they just led charmed lives. However, they both had a very empty feeling inside, and they wanted help. So they wanted to create that perfect life inside and out. And so they both, unbeknownst to each other, don't know each other, explored going to India to sit at the feet of a guru, to go to an ashram, to disappear from all of the material world so that they could find themselves. The one woman, let's call her Unwilling Wanda. Unwilling Wanda had all of the material success. She had an absolutely beautiful life, but she kept finding herself very depressed. She didn't feel happy. And even she could look around and say, oh my God, I have everything. What is missing? And so she sat at the feet of the teacher. And the feet of the teacher immediately saw energetically within this beautiful woman, Unwilling Wanda, that she was stuck, that she was trapped. And as this spiritual teacher started talking to her, she kept getting more and more closed down. Now, Unwilling Wanda loved her jewelry. She wore so much jewelry. And as the spiritual teacher looked at Unwilling Wanda, the spiritual teacher said, in order to grow spiritually, you're going to have to take off all of your jewelry and not wear any of it. Because the spiritual teacher saw that she was very attached. Well, this made Unwilling Wanda completely back up. And it hit that pain body in her. She said, absolutely not. Every piece of jewelry that I wear comes from my husband. And it's the only way I know my husband loves me. It's through these gifts. And she clung so tightly. And the spiritual teacher, very compassionate, tried to get her to understand that the unwillingness to let go of attachments blocks our growth. Well, Unwilling Wanda couldn't get there. And up she went. And she left. Later comes Willing Wilhelmina. It's hard to come up with W names for women, by the way. This was not the easiest task in my work on this talk. So Willing Wilhelmina also had lots of struggles and challenges within herself, but her external world was wonderful. Very, very successful. Ran a business, a couple businesses, really lived the really beautiful life that we all want in the Western world. But she too found herself terribly, terribly depressed. So she sat before the spiritual teacher, and the spiritual teacher started talking to her. And the spiritual teacher noticed her very beautiful long hair that she was very proud of, and she kept moving it around. It was quite beautiful. And the spiritual teacher noticed, and the spiritual teacher said, Wilhelmina, would you be willing to cut your hair off so that you could be happy and awaken spiritually? And she, like the other one, forgot her name, already, Wanda, she, like Wanda, completely contracted. And she said, I'm an average plain woman, and my hair is the only place that gets me attention. My hair is acknowledged when I walk into restaurants, by strangers in the grocery store. Everywhere I go, this is what people recognize. If I didn't have this, who would I be? And of course, the spiritual teacher, very much like myself, filled with compassion. All right, that's enough. Said, are you willing to let it go to discover who you truly are? And Willing Wilhelmina, in a moment, knew that it was worth it. And her hair was chopped off. Cute little bob, it's in Naples. She can find a good stylist. No problem. And she started awakening that one doorway of willingness allowed her to begin opening, and other parts of her life started to come together, walking through one doorway where you once were unwilling, laying down one burden that is blocked by unwillingness, allowing a breakthrough begins to ripple out all around. Willingness, the word is simple. The concept is simple. But the application of it is deceptive. The simplicity is deceptive. Because true willingness takes us down into a pain body. You see, your unwillingness wasn't developed just on a whim. The places where you have found yourself unwilling to forgive that person, unwilling to give up those negative beliefs about yourself, unwilling to begin trusting life and allowing it to be on your side. These unwilling blocks and choices, many of them made from a very young age, came because something hurt. Something wasn't safe. And this isn't the conscious mind happening. There's just something that happens within you that's actually your protector. Your body, your energy field knows to protect you. And sometimes in a little body this tall, the best they can do is put up some walls. Just get some walls up right now to keep me safe. And that's a wonderful thing. Thank God the mind and the body and your emotional field are so intelligent. It's so intelligent that it knows to do whatever it has to do to get you through. It's really cool. The problem is, we all hit a point in our adult life where that which helped us is now hindering us. Does that make sense to you? The way that you perceived the world as unsafe probably made sense when you were 7. But 27, it doesn't work as well. Now at 27, thinking the world is unsafe, you're starting to push opportunities and people away. And 37, you push more and more away. 47, 57, 77, those unwilling parts can really establish some brick walls around us. No matter how old they are, come down they must. We must find within us the willingness. It says in Proverbs 3, 5, 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge God, and God will make straight your path. See, the first word is our problem. We don't trust. We don't trust. It makes perfect sense. But trust we must. Not in this world. Please hear the difference. See, the mind goes, well, if I have to trust, now I have to trust that person. I have to trust that, like all these things. I'm not talking about the world out there. That is not trustable right now. Not until a trust is established inside with the divine. When that is anchored, when your trust with God is established inside of you, that's where the real life and opening begins to happen. You see, I've said this before, and I got this from my friend Denise Schuber, one of the ministers who's going to be here later this summer. She said, we've got it backwards. We keep trying to trust people more and love God more. It's completely wrong. We should learn to trust God more and practice loving people. Do you get the difference? People will break your trust. People will fall down. People will say what they shouldn't have said. People will leave when they said they won't. Anyone here not got that email yet? People are just doing themselves. And sometimes the best they can do is walk out. Sometimes the best they can do is just so unacceptable. But if we keep trying to build trust with the broken systems out there before the trust is built with the internal working system here, it's completely flipped over, will never work. Never work. So when I'm talking about the seat of the will in this chakra, I'm talking about getting it connected inside of you. Trust back Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Trust in Spirit with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. Don't lean on the things of this world. Don't get trapped in trying to figure out, why does that person keep doing what they're doing? Oh my God. Do you know how many hours of your life you could save if you never asked that question? Why are they doing what they're doing? Because that's what they do. And they'll stop doing it when they don't. But you aren't going to make a difference. You're not going to rescue them. You're not going to talk them out of it. You're not going to save them. You're not going to make them feel bad enough that their shame finally turns them around. Them or you. Have you ever had a talking to on how you should be different? How did it go for them? Right? Let's just really, I'm sort of beating that drum a lot, but it's super important. We waste our precious mental and emotional energy wanting other people to be different or thinking they should be different or thinking they shouldn't do what they're doing. All of this energy outward being spent has led you nowhere. And actually it's led you one place, to make you more and more and more unwilling. Some of us have become so unwilling that we no longer can even turn and look inward because the walls are so high. We must trust, back up. We must trust in God. In all your ways, acknowledge God, and God's will. God will make straight your paths. Now you may go. And the way we do that is, thy will be done. Everyone has said it. We say it in our prayers. God, thy will be done. But even that should probably trigger an unwilling part of you, an untrusting part of you. What's the will of God? What if that doesn't line up with what I really want? What if the will of God is that this person leaves? I can't have that. What if the will of God is that this person's meant to lay down their body and go? I can't have that. The will of God is not acceptable. Unwilling, control, suffering, depression, pain, more pills bought at the pharmacy just to get through. Thy will be done. It's got to it gently peels all of that resistance away. Thy will be done. So what is God's will? Well, this is from my book, my second book, Thou Shalt Not Suffer. The will of God is always good. The will of God can always be trusted, but not always understood. It is the light in the darkness and the buoy in the storm. The will of God is that you be happy, free, and living your most amazing life. Next slide. The will of God is that you never worry about tomorrow, that you live in the certainty that every problem has a right solution, and that solution is here now. The will of God is that you surrender all that is unlike your glorious perfection so that you may know how loved and precious you truly are. This is the will of God. You can get the book in the bookstore and read that one little 2 paragraphs over and over and over and over. I will tell you a little side note. Sometimes I read back my stuff, I go, God, that's good. But I had really good editors. I mean, really, editors are amazing what they do. I would get my book sent back to me. I'd go, did I write that? And Patrick would go, no, you actually didn't. They did. Took your idea. Anyway, the point is, go back, please. I'm not magically switching the slide when I move my hand. I'm just pointing at it. Read this again. What is the will of God? That you never worry about tomorrow. That you never worry. There's nothing to worry about when you are lined up with the will of God. That you live in the certainty that every problem has a right solution. Imagine the appearance of a problem coming to you. And your immediate thought is, well, can't wait to see what God's going to do with this. Can't wait to see what the solution is for this. I can't figure it out with my mind, which means it's got to be really good. Which means if I let go and let God do it, the solution appears. But what do we do in our unwillingness, closed chakra? What do? We look at the problem and we stare at the problem and go, yeah, it really stinks. Come here, look at this. Come here, look at the problem. Don't take your eyes off of it. It might grow. Look at that. Look at that. We get everyone to look at it. Do you have a problem like this? Oh, you have one too? Well, let's hang out. And we'll just keep talking about and staring at the problem. And guess what grows? This is the facts, people. This is how it works. You want the real deal? You're messing it up. You want to keep staring at the problem. You want to keep talking about the problem. You want to keep gathering up with other people that have the same problem. You want to keep watching commercials that go on and on and on about all of the pills that you can take and then all of the side effects that follow to fix the problem. None of that works. It disconnects us. Imagine a problem comes and you know immediately there's a solution. I saved you hours of time again. The will of God is that you surrender. Just surrender and surrender and surrender. And this is the chakra for the surrender. You just keep letting it go. To keep letting it flow. I surrender, thy will be done. I surrender, thy will be done. And as this chakra opens and more light flows through it, your life begins to become magical. The third chakra, the solar plexus, is lined up with ages 5 to 10. It is the very playful time for some when you're out there in the world. For some of us, it wasn't so great. All of us had different experiences and different brackets of our upbringing. But this is the time where you become more independent. And you begin to see, where do I trust, where don't I trust? Oh, that was embarrassing in second grade. I have to recreate myself differently over here. All through this 5 to 10 years old, many of your beliefs were already formed before this, but now you're out there testing them in the world. And now you bump into something happens at school, something happens at home, a teacher says or does something, and you're either willing in the flow and I trust life, or you've got a lot of proof that life isn't trusted. We weren't taught at that very precious age to open this part of us and to trust God, not people. I don't think anyone got that memo in this age range. I didn't. Now's our time. This is the great news. Now is our time. So we're going to move into a little process. I do this each week while I'm doing the chakras. It's a little inner meditation. What's going to happen is nothing. You're going to close your eyes and follow me, basically. And I'm going to actually, with my words and with my intention, I'm going to open this third chakra and spin it. And then we're going to flow some white light God energy through the back and out the front. And just imagine it being cleared out. Imagine all of your unwillingness and all of the walls that came up just clearing out with the flow of this light. You want to play with me? Awesome. We're going to invite Linda Collins up. Linda plays these beautiful bowls, and she has chakra bowls here. And she does is it a gong wash? What do you call it? She does a sound bath, which is way better than a gong wash, I think. She does a sound bath the first Wednesday of each month right here. And it's really awesome. And it's healing. Sound heals. Sound heals. So she has the three she's been building. So we start with the root chakra, the red, and then the second chakra, the orange, and the third chakra. So she's going to support us going inward and experiencing this. So thank you, Linda. I invite you to take a nice deep breath. Whew. Turn your attention inward. Feel the body relax. And allow your attention to float down below the rib cage. Right in the center of the solar plexus. Imagine a yellow light, like a yellow Christmas light or something, beginning to glow. And as you breathe into this chakra, it becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. And the third chakra flowers open, stretching, and it begins to swirl and spin like a flat disc. A yellow disc, and it's swirling faster and faster. And as it's swirling faster and faster, imagine the center opening up from the gravitational pull of the spinning. And right through the center, a beam of white light comes through your back, right through the chakra and out the front. The flowing, purifying light of spirit flowing through. And it's pulling out of you all of the unwillingness, all of the stories you made up about being unsafe, all the ways you don't trust God or life. Pulling all of it out. Imagine, just see strands of distrust and unwillingness pulled out of you by this white light. Let it go. I am willing to let it go. I am willing to let it go. I am willing to let it go. Inside yourself, God, thy will be done. Thy will be done. And as you're affirming that, it's just pulling out all of the resistance. Let this moment do magnificent work inside of you. We invite all unwillingness, known or unknown, to be released. And we say to Spirit, thy will be done. Thy will be done. Purifying light, purifying this chakra, opening it up brighter and brighter and brighter. Continue to imagine you're just letting go, letting God's will set you free. God's will is good. God's will is love. God's will is solutions. God's will is in you and for you. God, thy will be done. And that white light begins to pull itself out the back, and disappears. And the chakra, the spinning chakra, begins to slow down and slow down. And as it stops, it opens up into the most beautiful big yellow flower. The petals reaching out far and wide, and it's purified and it's open. And the only thing we put inside of it is, thy will be done, God. Thy will be done. Thy will is my will, and it is good. Thy will is my will, and it is good. I trust God. I trust God. I trust the life inside of me. This is established. This is anchored in this chakra. Take a nice deep breath into this. And I like to imagine at the end that this flower just begins closing up upon itself, like a flower does at the end of the day as the sun sets, but it remains open in the center for energy and willingness to easily flow to and through you. And just bring your attention back to the room, opening your eyes whenever you're ready. Thank you, Linda. For some of you, that might be a new experience to close your eyes and use kind of guided imagery to heal or to open. But it's a very powerful way to access your inner world, and the brain and your being and your energetic body really does receive the imprints of healing the same way as if it were in this dimension. The mind doesn't know the difference between an imagining or a reality. That makes sense to you, right? So that work that you just did, how much you experienced or didn't, it still was very powerful. So thank you for participating in that. The Gospel of Thomas says, if you bring forth that which is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. One of my favorite quotes. I have so many. But I love this one because when this, you could spin it a bunch of different ways. But in this moment, I spin it toward our work on our spiritual path is to bring forth what is within us, is wherever the unwillingness is. That's what we bring forth. And if we don't, and we bring it forth and we let it be released, it will save us. Meaning, you'll be more alive, you'll be happier, you'll be more in your own energy field. If you don't bring it forth, if you keep stuffing it down, it will eventually destroy you. Not ultimately, your spirit is always fine, but in terms of your reality here, and that's what most people do. The unhealed parts are the things that cause the dis-ease and the depression and the pain. The healing of it, letting it out, bringing it up and out is where we are saved. So thank you for being a part of that. That completes the talk. Peace and blessings on that. I'll take it.